Hello, it's 4:20. Let's get high. Well, a lot has happened. I've just sent off my manuscript to the, and I can't think of the name. The person who's going to arrange it all, and sent it to the printer. So pretty exciting. So I've been reading from my book. It's going to be available August 17th, called Zohar Beyond the Black Hole. And I'm into the part of the book, the main part of the book, where I'm actually reading and translating and explaining how the Zohar is detailing what goes on inside of the black hole and how it is that the universe is made up of spiral galaxies. Since from the inside of the black hole, the way the black hole was made is an engraving of God's desire to have a dwelling place in low, and there is no place lower than our earth, where people roam around with free choice and do whatever the fuck they want, see? And that's where God wants to be known. And that's what we're doing. Each one of us in our own way is knowing God. The problem is that people get in the middle of this. People, religion, government, that everyone gets in the middle of this because they want to monetize it. And they make up things like, that God is spiritual, or that all creation came out of a big bang. So the Zohar, which was written 2,000 years ago by Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai and delivered to the earth 1,000 years later, about 1,000 years later, and took 700 years to finally get to this point where it can be revealed that that what the Zohar is describing is what scientists have found, and was saved for this time so that people who are lost in these stupid theories of Rome, be them religious or governmental or scientific, can be put straight. So that's what my book is about, and this is the 6th paragraph of 13 paragraphs of the beginning of the Zohar describing creation that I am reading from. Paragraph 6. Zohar, Raza Zeh Bereshit. Kadma Dekula Shmei, Ihye Shema Kadisha, Galifa Besitru, Elohim Galifa Batira, Asher Hekla Tamir, Ganin, Sharuta Deraza Derashis, Ashir, Rosanafik Merashis. Okay. So at the beginning of this, it says, Zohar Raza Dabaresh is Kadma Kula, Shemei Shemei Kadisha Glifa Besitroy. Zohar hints at, in the beginning, prior to all names, Ihya, separate name engraved within, hidden. What does that mean? The name Ihya, to be, is separate from all other subsequent names, engraved within Zohar, the inner dimension of the black hole hinted in the first word of Torah, Bereshit, in the beginning. The name Ihya, to be, is completely hidden. The name Ihye, to be, is the first name after the initial engraving from God's desire to be known and low, depicting the 10 components of the tree of life, male and female, each with an essence portrayed in the 22 letters of the ancient Hebrew alphabet. The letter Aleph is the first Hebrew letter, considered a general letter from where all other letters are born. Aleph spelled backwards is Pella, wondrous. The name Ihye, to be, is considered the name of the future. God spoke and the world was. Speaking begins in the head with a thought, then is transmitted to the emotions, taking on personality before being split out into the world as a word. Similarly, Boré adopts the way of the world to intercourse with creation, beginning with thought, percolating from a desire engraved into endless possibilities, contracted down into a whirlpool of primordial light, eventually merging into the first letter of creation, the letter Aleph. The iconic form of Aleph depicts a diagonal line separating one line into two dots, onto two dots on each side of a line. In the same way, the black hole separates in from out. The lower dot of the Aleph is the outer dimension of the black hole housing the universe. From this first letter Aleph in the name Ihye propagates the next three letters to make Hoyu past, which through gematria renders the number 20, which is equated with Keter crown, also with a gematria of 20. No. By surrounding the head, the entire body is surrounded. This is the essence expressed as will and pleasure. This is the gateway to the soul. However, Keter, crown without a body, becomes an insatiable appetite for more, a shell sucking life from others. The crown is the first revelation, an attribute refracted endlessly through creation, the essence of life reduced down to will and pleasure. Will and pleasure begins each pregnancy. The Keter of creation is seen in the black hole, the first form of revelation of God's will for the sake of God's pleasure, initiated by God's desire. From the perspective of Boré, future has already happened in infinite different ways all at once. The paths to each individual has already been forged, and the choice which path to pursue to the individual with free choice. The Keter crown of the Melech, king, are the first revelations to the power of royalty. Similarly, the black hole is just a tiny revelation compared to what hides within the black hole, the light called Zohar brilliance. The next part of the paragraph. Elohim Galifa Ba'atira Asher Hekla Tamir Ganiz Sharita Daraza Darashis Asher Rosh Nafik Merashis. Elohim engraved inside the surrounding hiding chamber and protecting the beginning hinted in Rashis beginning. Ashir preposition Rosh head comes from Rashis beginning. The name Elohim is a feminine name indicating contraction and judgment, procuring the necessary elements needed to construct the universe. an ability bequeathed to women able to thread together a baby. Just as Boré engraves into the Or Ein Sof, light without end, so too the name Elohim is engraved into the rim of the newly opened space, giving birth to nature. Literally, the name Elohim means God of plurality. Therefore, creation comes from Keter crown. The black hole where Elohim is engraved into the hardness, causing shards racing out into endless possibilities. Until creation was stopped by the Creator who shouted the word die, enough, into creation, thus the name Shaddai, who said die, enough, with the gematria 314, the first 3 digits of pi, interloper between the line and the curve, creation was unlimited. The Aramaic word itara, crown, refers to outside of the black hole from where the universe opens. Called Rashis, beginning, is a product of the inner chamber denoted by the word ashir, a preposition guarding from exposure from the first perturbation of desire from Boré, engraved into the Or Ein Sof, light without end, hinted in the word ashir, a preposition. The Rosh head emerges first from the Rashis, beginning. The black hole produces an attenuated light drawn through the name through the name Elohim, breaking the one light into infinite beams going out into Mokum Pane, empty space, creating chambers for the angels who are messengers from God. The whole apparatus of Shemayim, heaven, is infinitely complex and confusing, but that only extends to the black hole. The Earth, Tevel, one of the 9 planets in our solar system, is on the outer arm of our galaxy, full of endless stars, all tethered to the black hole, which is the outer expression from the inner will of Boré to fulfill a godly desire. 4,000 years ago, Abraham came to this world from the Tower of Babel built on Mars to discover people on Earth who thought Boré had created creation, then left the workings of creation in the hands of the planets and constellations. Abraham came to our world with the message, Boré is one, meaning one in the midst of plurality is everywhere to everyone all the time. True, Boré created the world through the unimaginable web of interaction from the most feminine of beginnings, from the most ephemeral of beginnings, separating Boré creator from creation through the intercession of the black hole. But Boré is not obstructed in any way whatsoever. Boré loves creation, created through the names of Boré, then given birth through the name Elohim. Mother to creation, constantly murmuring in each vibration and color, blanketing the earth, Tevel, so Boré can be known in low. Excuse me, yes, okay. How are we doing in time? Good. Chapter 7. Kadis taken labaser nukuda vehekala bachada. Kedin, Bereshis Khalil Rishita, Ola Bakakamata. Labasit Kalev, Govin Hahu Hekala, the Ikre Bait Nakuda, Allah, the Ikre Rosh, Klali Daber Raza Bereshit, Kadi Hu Kula Kakada, Baklala Kada, Ad Lo Hove, Yeshuva Babeta. Kevin is the Azdara, the Tikuna, the Yeshuva, kedin yikra Elohim tamira stima. The first two lines. Vitaken labaser nukuda vehekala kakada kadin bereshis kalil rishita ilah b'chakmata. Construction in place of the dot and the chamber. And chamber is one ordered. Bereshit in the beginning includes beginning above with Chokhmah logic. The construction of the universe begins in earnest after the black hole. No instrument can pierce the fierceness of light and energy emanating from the point tethering the stars to our galaxy. The stars of our galaxy, including our solar system. But in the beginning of creation, as the shards of light streamed out of the engraving from the name Elohim, while yet connected to the source, was commanded through the name Yud-He Vav-He. Therefore, though the light is divided into threads of luminance, they are essentially one. They're essentially undefined. Yet, the oneness of the Creator is not of creation in any way or manner. The 6 letters in the first word of the Torah, Bereshit, in the beginning, incorporates the word Rosh, head. The word Yisrael, Israel, can be rearranged to read Rosh Li, my head. The head is the beginning of logic. Beyond logic is will and pleasure. The crowning components of existence keeping us invigorated. The word Chokhmah, wisdom, refers to the right side of the brain where the soul enters into the body, keeping the brain in a state of constant thought from the feet of the soul running inside the head of the person. The word Chokhmah, wisdom, can be broken down into Koach Ma, power of what? Yes, the power to ask a question from what is seen. The left side of the brain is feminine, the bastion of hearing. Torah means teaching. The teacher wants the students to ask questions, revealing the recognition of logic. There is no dogma in the words of Torah. From the beginning of creation, logic rules. When scientists find an anomaly in nature, the entire scholastic world trembles. Creation began with a desire, which is a reflection of hidden pleasure far beyond logic. The wisdom of Chokhmah, through the vehicle of the question, begins the pathway to logic. The basrit chalev goven hu hekala dikre beis nakuda elov dikre rosh. In the place exchanging colors in the chamber called House of Supernal Dot, called Rosh, head. The introduction of color indicates sine waves of various vibrations interacting in the prism of creation, where ephemeral structures are created then destroyed, like a painter painting a picture layer upon layer until satisfaction is achieved. The right side of the brain corresponding to the eyes is colored silver. The left side of the brain corresponding to the ears is colored gold. The third eye corresponding to the 2 nostrils colored copper. Color is the first vibration from Nakuda, known as the black hole, along with the sound Emesh, bringing about the 3 higher elements, fire, air, and water, on a mission from Borei to be known in Lo. Once put into motion, the universe continues in a way of cause and effect based on logic. As is said, God made creation b'chokhmah, with wisdom. The Nakuda dot of creation, known as the black hole, is the Rosh head. Independence begins from the head. When the head of the child enters into the world, independence is achieved. The beginning of the Hebrew year is Rosh Hashanah, head of the year, the heavenly decree for the coming year. For the coming yearly cycle is written into the head of the year during the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, head of the year, corresponding to the two hemispheres of the brain, dispersing life into the body through time. 10 days after hearing the shofar, ram's horn, being sounded on Rosh Hashanah, head of the year, concluding the process. The third aspect of the head is accomplished in 10 days later after fasting on Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement, corresponding to the third eye, depicting the two nostrils, the right and the left hemispheres of the brain, thinking in a way of hearing and seeing, but the third eye suddenly just knows as a result of cognition. The function of knowing is to momentarily shut down the apparatus of thought, allowing cognition to come to a conclusion, knowing. Thinking is the most spiritual bodily activity. The brain is able to imagine anything and everything with the exception of Borei, who is unimaginable, being neither Shemayim heaven or Eretz earth. Also, thoughts have no weight, as in heaven, where the heaviness of corporeality does not exist. Sex is the lowest activity of the body. Our galaxy begins in the head, then comes down to the earth, called Tevel, with a gematria of 432, the resonance of the ground measured in hertz. The word Tevel refers to a human being and animal having sex. Each person is comprised of an animal soul and a human soul living together in one body in planet Earth. All right, the last one of this paragraph. Klali da baraza bereshis kadi kula kakada beklala kada aloha be yeshuva bebesa keven is dara the tukuna yeshuva kadeni grey Elohim demira stima, included in the secret beginning until all is one awaiting return home, since seeding accomplishes return, order is called hidden Elohim. All of the knowledge concerning creation is hinted in the word Bereshit, in the beginning. Similar to how the function of the body traces to the brain, creation is constructed by the design of Borei. By the design of Borei inside the black hole, conducting the galaxy of stars. The dot is called Rashis beginning, in the head of the galaxy, where all knowledge is stored and revealed at the proper time. Zohar is a knowledge from beyond the far side of the black hole into the primordial chamber from where creation is continually conceived. Yet, everything was considered static, since return had yet to happen. When Borei said die, enough, to the static expansion, reality bloomed instantly, expanding and suddenly halting, causing refraction to happen as creation slowed down to the speed of light. The dispersed light is equated with throwing seeds into a foul soil. Fallow soil. The seed causes the ground to grow in much the way the seed of man causes the woman to be impregnated but the woman grows the baby from the sperm. Each beam of light between the spectrum from blue to red is a seed planted in the abyss, sprouting worlds without end and life without measure. From the universe down, all of creation is created from Eitz Chaim, tree of life. A similar pattern is followed in the name Elohim. Chesed, kindness, is hidden through the attribute of the two letters making the word Yam, ocean. The word Elohim has the gematria 86, the same as Hateva, the nature, related to the word Hatabeya, sunken. When light pierces water, the shaft of light appears altered, a protection for fish, but also a sign. Mother Nature is a shield against the light, Yud-He Vav-He by Elohim. Only when the Creator, Borei, is hidden from creation can freedom of choice exist. In heaven, there is light, but there is no freedom of choice. All right, so that's we're up to chapter 8. So I have a few minutes here. I just want to say that for years and years, I've had this malady, I guess, a structural thing in my body, and over the last 7 years, it's been unwinding at a cost of some pain and discomfort and all sorts of shit. But I've been able to see my body slowly unwinding. And yesterday, which is Rosh Chodesh yesterday, no, not yesterday, the day before yesterday, was the new moon, beginning the month of Av. And the month of Av is famous for two reasons: the saddest day and the happiest day. And they're divided by, 5 days. And the saddest day is on the 9th of Av, the day when both temples were destroyed. And the 15th of Av, the month of Av, the full moon of Av, which is how you say it? Tu B'Av, the 15th of the month of Av, which says the happiest day of the year. And on the saddest day, we fast, and we don't work, we don't do nothing, and we just mourn. And on the happiest day, there's no way, of all the holidays, there's just no way to do it. It's just a day of love, a day to be happy. And it's during this time, 50 years ago, that I came. That's actually 51 years ago that I came to begin my study of Torah. And it's interesting. I mean, right from the beginning, I was just really interested in Zohar, but I had to learn how to read, and I had to read many books. I spent decades and decades doing this until finally I went on to Kabbalah. And from there, I tried to break into the Zohar, and it was very difficult until I came to the Pri Tzaddik, to Tzaddik HaKohen, who wrote Pri Tzaddik, and he somehow lifted me from where I was. He was a bridge into the Zohar, and after studying him, the Zohar really opened up to me. And the interesting is, the Pri Tzaddik, he passed away at 77 years in 1900, and on the 9th of Elul, and I was born on the 9th of Elul, 44 years later. And now 77 years later, on August 17th, which is the 9th of Av, which when I was born, he passed away on the 9th of Av, and in recognition of this, 44 years later, they published Pri Tzaddik, his great collection of work. And on that day, I was born. And then I'm going to publish this on my 77th birthday. Kind of like connected. Anyways, it's meaningful to me. I think it's pretty cool. And thank you for, I made some changes to my website. Please check it out, davidhouse.com. Thank you for watching, listening. See you tomorrow. Keep high.